All right, welcome back to the second episode of the Whiskey Gingers podcast. Two gingers try whiskeys from around the world, around the U.S., and around your liquor store. This week, we are classing it up a little bit with a French whiskey by Bastille. As far as I'm concerned, not tied into the band, but I'm happy to be corrected on that one.
You never know.
It wasn't made in Pompeii, so I don't think the two are tied together. I haven't had a French whiskey before. The French also spell whiskey wrong, in my opinion. It's whiskey, just KY.
Oh, I did not know that, actually.
It's on your computer.
You are not kidding, unless that's just a typo, which is also a possibility.
It's on the bottle as well, though.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, so you won't. We got a fancy new camera, so I'm getting a little bit confident here. But I don't know if you'll be able to tell.
Does it say it up there?
Yeah, it says it right there.
We may be able to force it to focus.
Yeah, so far.
Maybe not.
Either way, Americans and winners spell whiskey with an E. The French spell whiskey with a Y.
Just as a refresher for all of our potential viewers, my name's Chris. This is Brandon.
Yeah, good call. I forgot we're not famous yet.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we're gonna try this out. I mean, like we usually do, we'll talk a little bit about the whiskey that we have here. It actually came. I just happened to stumble upon this at the local liquor store that we have around town. And I had never had a French whiskey, like we said, and neither has Brandon. So we thought, why not give it a try? It doesn't seem like it's one of those, American made, but calling it French products.
Yeah, it seems pretty legit.
It says imported from France. So, hopefully that's it. It also apparently won an award in 2019. It has a 94-point rating in that. I'm not actually sure who the rater was. I was looking it up before, and it was kind of a little bit bland. We're kind of new to this whole thing as everybody's learning. But it says the IWC, so I'm sure there's a big thing there.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's the French rating them, I don't trust them. If it's like some third party, I'm not a big fan of the French if it's not obvious yet.
So we're really segregating the market here. If there's anybody that's French watching this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're French, prove me wrong, but I've been to your fair land and was not impressed.
He's unimpressed.
Yeah,
so
I was also pickpocketed.
Yeah, that'll leave a bad taste in your mouth. So I would love to extend an offer to anybody that could actually name the flavor profile of this whiskey. And no cheating on it, but we'll accept some write-ins. So if you want, you can take a guess at it, and then if you're right,
there's 50 grand in it for you.
Yeah, brownie points.
If you are able to drink this whiskey without reading the tag and relay to us all the notes, because some of them are absolutely beyond comprehension.
I almost feel like we should try it before I reread these, because the list of flavor profiles is actually so long on this that I don't even remember all of them. So I feel like we should probably crack it open and try it.
And then we'll try and hit them all.
I guarantee we don't hit a single one of them.
There's a few I definitely remember, but not all.
So you might be
about
biased.
30.
So you might be biased. We're trying this opening on the fly, as always. Brandon showed a little bit concerned that I wasn't going to be able to get this open on the camera, but
it's already not going splendid, as a lot of the merchandising has left the bottle.
There we go.
Pretty weak sounding cork French.
It was a little bit weak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
Should we try the cork sound again?
Yeah. For all you ASMR fans out there, that was Chris opening a cork.
All right, let's try it. So again, as always, brand new bottle. This one is quite significantly bigger than our other one that we tried last week with Wiggle. So I'm hoping it's good, because it's going to be remaining on the shelf for a little bit.
The Wiggle one was adequately sized, in my opinion. It's enough.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed that Wiggle bottle.
Me too. We drank the whole thing.
All right. So again, this is Bastille French whiskey.
A little strong.
It definitely has a
little
strength
kick to it.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy.
It's got a lot more mouth burn than the Wiggle did.
Definitely. It's odd because it kind of doesn't taste like It doesn't. I can compare it to some things. I think if anything, it's sweeter than the Wiggle was. But I mean, the Wiggle was more of a bourbon than anything.
Yeah, it's got like the sweetness of your more like your Irish whiskeys. Like it tastes a little bit like if you're familiar with Bushmill. It's got a little bit of a Bushmill to it.
It kind of burns like bourbon, but it tastes like Irish whiskey.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid between like your classic American, like Kentucky whiskey, and then your more sweeter European whiskeys. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't know how so the Wiggle one we did obviously on the cast with you guys, and then just chatting about how the podcast went, we ended up finishing that 5th. As good as this is early on, I'm not sure I could casually down one quite like we did the other.
Yeah, this one definitely sits a little bit harder than the Wiggle did.
You really gotta man up a little bit on the way down.
It really isn't bad. I wouldn't say it's bad at all.
It's a different kind of whiskey.
I feel like I said the exact same thing for Wiggle because like we also have to relay that we've said it from the beginning.
Yeah,
we're Irish whiskey fans first over anything, pretty much. And like I'll enjoy a Scotch every now and again, but for the most part, I definitely think that we lean Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of our reviews are going to be a little bit biased.
They're going to skew until we start getting over into Ireland, and then there'll obviously be glowing reviews.
10 out of 10 for Ireland's worst whiskey.
Exactly, yeah. But it's really... I don't know. This is, for me at least, it's a 1-glass whiskey.
You think so? I mean, any glass can be a multi-glass whiskey.
That's true.
Once you have a glass or two.
Yeah, I mean, we could obviously go a little harder here, but just you want to try and see how many we can recall.
I'm gonna let you try and take a stab at it first and see if you can get any of these right on the flavors.
All right, so off the bat, I remember suede. I remember there's an apple cobbler in there. There's some kind of peach. There was an aroma of something. That's about all I got.
So what you're saying is you were really good at cram studying right before a test when you were younger.
Yeah.
You got a lot of them. But the thing is, did you taste any of those things, or is
no?
To me, it just tastes
memory. It's
sweet.
pure memory.
To me, it just tastes sweet. I mean, like
I guess you could.
I get a little bit of the fruity sweetness that it's coming out of it. One of the ones on here is suede, like a leathery taste. I don't know why you would even include that on your...
I don't know how that brewing process works.
Yeah, you just stick a piece of cow leather in there and hope for the best. I'm not really sure.
Like if you had a jacket you were done with for the season.
You just cut it up in a little strips and add it in there for flavor profile. That might be what they do. It's it's the way they recycle over in France.
True, it is the French. They are snobby.
Could be the case. I'm going to read the full description because there's no way that we could do it justice, and it is a very fancy description, and I guess that would make sense for a thing that has a 94 for
and a paragraph of ingredients.
So it has the International Review of Spirits Award. That's the award that they won, to clarify that. So it says
it has the IRS.
The IRS.
The feds love this shit.
Yeah, but it's hard because it's the IRSAG. Well, I guess the AG. That was the gold. That was the award.
Oh, okay.
I put gold in there. That shouldn't be there. International Review of Spirits Awards. So I guess it would be the IRSA.
Okay.
So not to be confused with the IRS. So it says it has
It tastes like an audit.
It tastes like an audit. It kind of does. It feels like you're being audited when you're drinking it. It has a bright amber color, intriguing aromas of orange, marmalade, dried apricot, spice cake, pineapple blossoms, and suede, with a vibrant, dry yet fruity, medium to full body and long orange bread crust. Peach cobbler, peppery spice, and limestone accented finish. A remarkably fruity, exotic, and enigmatic whiskey that will make unique cocktails.
Okay, so maybe we're not using this whiskey right.
I mean, like, in my opinion, so like I've said it in the past, I try and find a whiskey that's somewhere around, like my ballpark. If I'm gonna go to the liquor store and I'm gonna buy something I haven't seen, I'm willing to spend up to like $50 on it.
Yeah.
If it's something that I know is good, then I don't mind spending more money on that. But if it's something that I'm just going to try, I would rather not spend more than $50 on it.
Yeah.
This, I think I picked up, it was like $39.99.
Okay.
So in my opinion, at $39.99, I've had very good drinking whiskeys where you can just sip them as is.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's a little bit pricey at $40
For a mixer whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if that's what it sounds like they're recommending. I can't imagine the good people at the IRSA would allow a whiskey that needs a chaser, a mixer to rank that highly.
The IRSA. We need to find, what I think we need to do now is we need to start finding more whiskeys that are rated by the IRSA to compare and see their validity, because maybe this is a bogus award.
Yeah, like we'll do the whole like one bite, everybody knows the rules thing. Like if this is right now a baseline 94. I mean,
what would you rate it if you were going to rate it out of 100? What do you think you'd rate it?
Out of 100?
I can guarantee you're probably not going to get close to 94.
No, I mean, to me, it's like a B- whiskey, so that's like an 83 in my opinion.
Yeah.
If I can't drink it on its own and enjoy its own flavor profile, then there's nothing stopping me from going and getting somewhere between a $15 and a $20 whiskey that I can mix cream soda, ginger ale, some kind of orange zest in with.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason you're spending $39 to $50 in our price range is like A, to show off for your friends a little bit, and B, to have a classy whiskey you can enjoy without any add-ons.
It just doesn't do much for me. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
I just think that it doesn't stand out enough on its own for me to be like, yeah, I'd buy this again. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll drink it, obviously, because now it's in-house, and every now and again I'm looking to spice it up a little bit and try something I haven't had in a while. But I feel like it wouldn't be the first bottle I'd reach for is definitely my takeaway from that whole thing.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I think I enjoyed the Humble Wiggle whiskey of Pittsburgh a little bit more.
Also biased.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be the whole American Revolution in me, but I just enjoyed that bottle. It went down more casually, I guess, without having to like mentally psych yourself up for finishing a glass and starting another one.
I'm going to pour another glass just to have throughout the rest of this. You can either join me or not.
For what it's worth, you guys at home, we shoot this at Chris's house, so it's a bit of a different vibe when you got a half-hour drive home.
Yes. So I'm going to have a little bit more. I actually do think that it's probably a one-and-done glass of whiskey, but maybe I'll feel differently on the second glass. So I'll be the tester.
Works.
I'll be the tester. You can chill with that.
Whiskey and women get better the more you drink.
So I feel like with any good thing, I think we're at a good segue here to go on to our other norm that we do on the show, which is the Let's Drink About It segment that we do here. And basically, we just talk about different topics and controversial things. And really, it could be anything. I think that it's just going to evolve into the Let's Talk About Things section of this.
Yeah, and this week we got a couple of heaters coming in here for you guys, a couple of age-old debates.
Yep.
Speaking of mixers, not anything I would necessarily mix with whiskey, but there's crazy people out there. Coke v. Pepsi kind of divides the nation like Ford and Chevy, Eagles, Cowboys. I'm trying to think of.
It's a debate as old as time.
It is. I believe Coke was around first.
Let's find out.
I'm pretty sure that Coke was on the scene originally.
I'm curious to know now. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola.
Wasn't it?
Invented in the late 19th century.
Okay, so that's like the 1800s people were down in Coke.
It was
1886.
Wow, that's very specific. On May 8th of 1886, Dr. John Pemberton sold the first glass of Coca-Cola at Jacob's Pharmacy in downtown Atlanta. So Coca-Cola was originally in Georgia. Pretty cool.
And the reason it was medical is I'm pretty sure there was trace amounts of cocaine in like the early days of Coca-Cola.
So we're at 1886, and Pepsi was in 1893.
Okay, it's closer than I thought.
Pepsi did come after the fact.
Oh, wait. Well, kind of. It was introduced as Brad's drink, which sounds like something in a frat basement that I wouldn't necessarily try.
Yeah. And then it said 124 years ago as Pepsi Cola. So 1898, it became Pepsi Cola. It started out as Brad's drink, which, kind of sounds like
Yeah.
something that you'd get at a frat house. And
Yeah.
it's the special jungle juice concoction of the night. And then it rebranded in 1961 as Pepsi.
Okay.
So I can tell you that it's definitely had the more complicated past because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Cola has always been Coke.
Yeah, Pepsi got a little bit of baggage. Had an identity crisis in the early 90s, in the early 1900s. I mean, who didn't?
So with that being said, what's your stance? What are you feeling?
With all their baggage, I tend to lean Pepsi because I'm a consistency man, and Pepsi consistently is more enjoyable for me.
Mhm.
I will admit, when Coke has its highs, they're really high. McDonald's Coke, which if you didn't know, McDonald's mixes their Coke differently than anywhere else does. There's more CO2 in McDonald's Coke than any other fountain drink you pull out.
I did not know that.
Fun fact on that one. So McDonald's Coke is obviously top tier. And then every South American country, their Coke is like the nectar of the gods because they're still allowed to use cane sugar. Whereas here in the U.S., you have to use the fake sugar. So when Coke is great, it's unbeatable. The problem is it's not often that great. Pepsi's always right down that middle line.
Well, it's interesting, though, too, that you bring up the cane sugar thing because I'm pretty sure in the supermarkets a lot of the times I do see Pepsi brand with cane sugar or made with real sugar or something on the label. So I'm curious if they do something similar and they have a way around it. I doubt that's true because I'm sure there's some like U.S. health regulation that prevents it. But for me, I totally agree with you. I love Pepsi. I think Pepsi is like my go-to. If I'm going to like have a glass of soda, if I'm going to have a can of soda or a glass of soda, it's probably going to be Pepsi over Coke. However, there are a lot of times if I mix with a soda that's a dark soda, I actually prefer it to be Coke. That is rare. Part. I don't mix with Coke or Pepsi very often because I don't really like if I'm going to mix with anything, it's usually like a ginger ale or something lighter that's not going to have a dominant flavor profile. Like I kind of like it to just add a little bit of flavor, not steal the show of whatever I'm drinking. But if I am going to mix a dark soda, it's going to be Coke.
Yeah, and they kind of got in on it from the beginning. Like, I mean, who among us hasn't been to a dive bar, college bar, club, etc., and it's just rum and Cokes on a retainer. You wonder how Coke got in on that and Pepsi missed the boat on like the.
They really did. The lingo is totally different. And then my favorite is going to a place and somebody that's like a diehard either way because I could care less. I mean, like I said, I do enjoy drinking Pepsi better, but if I don't have a choice because a restaurant or somewhere only has Coke or only has Pepsi, I don't care. And my favorite thing that somebody like a waitress or whoever, a bartender will always say to you is like, "Oh, is Coke okay or is Pepsi okay?"
As if people say no.
Well, you get those diehard people sometimes. It's like in my head, I'm playing the scenario. I'm like, what is the person going to stand up and be like? No, it's not. I'm leaving this establishment. It's like, how dare you not have what I want? It's like you chose to be here, so like it's
also negligible. That's another fun one that I think we'll see how the polls shake out. But that could be a fun one to do. Is if we did a blind taste test, like we have a third party fill like 2 highballs with Coke and Pepsi, and then we see if you can even tell the difference without looking at the packaging. I think I could.
I know I could definitely taste it without alcohol, obviously, but like even with alcohol, I think you would because you're going to get a more fizzy drink out of the Coke than you would with the Pepsi, and I think that's why people like to mix with Coke because it amplifies the fizz, as where Pepsi makes it even sweeter. Yeah. Which, to me, that's always how I've differentiated Coke and Pepsi, is Coke is super fizzy, and Pepsi is super sweet. Yeah. But then I've talked to people, because we're on the same page here, I've talked to people that are Coke people, and they say the opposite. They say that Coke is sweeter, and Pepsi is fizzier, which I don't believe that for a second. But
yeah. There are times, like, whenever I have a Pepsi, I never get that, like, feeling like when you can feel like on your teeth that they're like like, I've never gotten that with Pepsi. I have gotten it with Coke a time or two, but that could just be them putting more of that syrup in there. But that would be fun to do. Is the next time we get together and do this, we'll still obviously have our glass of whiskey, but we'll pick up. I mean, I'll even pick up like a cheap like 5th or so of rum. Yeah, and we'll do a rum and Coke and a rum and Pepsi. I've never had a rum and Pepsi. Might be better, and just see if you can tell the difference.
That sounds like a pretty good idea. Can't complain about that. So we also have another little comparison here. We did a few comparisons today just because I feel like they're really quick, hot topic things to go over. And this one we're actually not on the same page on.
Which is nice.
Spoiler.
Embrace debate.
We have the age-old debate here. Maybe it's age-old. I don't know. I always thought it was an easy pick, but I guess not. We have Goldfish as a snack versus Cheez-its.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who likes cheese, which presumably if you're eating either of these, you fall into that category, you're getting way more cheese for your money on a cheese than a Goldfish. And it could be the fact that like they're salted too, definitely makes it better. Like the Goldfish, you kind of lose that, but
I think they are salted too, though.
you can like if you look at a Cheez-It, I mean, I don't have a cheese, we don't have the camera for it. You can see, like you can visibly look at it and
like
see the salt particles,
crystalline structures on there.
Yeah, which is probably going to kill me in the next 17 minutes, but it tastes good going down. With Goldfish, I don't get that same like explosion unless when we start adding in like flavor blasted and all, then that's a whole different.
They're cheating. I mean, like in your defense, I do think that like the Goldfish has way more different options.
Dude, the white cheddar Goldfish is top tier. We're not even going to bring that into this.
But like that's the thing. Like if you're starting to compare, it's kind of not even comparing apples to apples at that point.
Yeah.
Because I think Cheez-its only has the regular Cheez-its, and maybe they do have white cheddar ones too. But I think that's it.
Their flavor blasted is legit. They did the pretzel Goldfish at one point, which was kind of an ill-advised
pretzel
move.
Goldfish. They have the multicolored ones,
which they didn't taste like anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Goldfish. For me, maybe it's a nostalgia thing. I feel like I always got packed Goldfish when I was younger in my lunch and stuff.
They're about that big.
Yeah, the little baggies and stuff. So I always liked those. And then what happened to me for a long time was we would go to like BJ's or Costco or something, and we'd get the giant Goldfish carton.
Where it has like the little lid.
It has a little lid.
Yeah.
It looks like a milk carton, but it's Goldfish. And I would just find myself just for hours just stuffing my hand in there and realizing, wow, I've eaten almost this entire thing, and this is not healthy.
And they're like 3 pounds.
Yeah, so I think that for me, that's why I just associate Goldfish with being such a top-tier snack.
Mm-hmm.
But
you look back on your fond days of overeating.
I could see the argument for Cheez-Its, because it's not that I don't like them. Yeah. It's just I've always been a Goldfish guy, so I'm kind of biased on it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, we're only debating like the base model of both. I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody to say the entire works of the artists over at Cheez-It are inferior to the two brands, because everything Goldfish tried to branch out and do outside of the flavor blasted has kind of fallen flat on its face.
It's pretty true, probably.
Yeah. Like the only thing Cheez-It really swung at and missed, in my opinion, was duos, where it's like an Oreo kind of in a way. So it's like left side cheddar, right side white cheddar, or like that's the only part where they kind of lost me. Everything else has just been like hits after hits.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But the last one, sticking with the theme of kind of childhood. These are all like kind of childhood, like after school snacks. It's kind of the way I've been remembering.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you the last time I've had a Lunchable. I've had a pizza roll pretty recently. That's why I'm team pizza roll.
Yeah, no, I think that Lunchables for me were always like a weird hit or miss thing. Even in school, like people would be sent to school with Lunchables, and the one that always
I look down on those kids, man. I gotta tell you,
it was a very weird thing for me because like I'm throwing a lot of shade right now, but I really feel like if you received Lunchables for lunch, it's not that they were cheaper than the alternative. It was just pure laziness because
your parents didn't care.
They didn't care.
Make you a lunch,
or like even if you made it for yourself. I mean, like there's times I made my own lunch, especially as you get older. But like if you're buying Lunchables, especially when you're older, it's because you just don't care and you just are lazy. Really, I mean, like I don't think they're good. There was like those Lunchable stackers, which I feel like were the most common ones. Where you get like 2 crackers, a piece of cheese, and like a piece of ham or something.
But there's no way it's like a war ration.
There's no way that beats a ham and cheese sandwich.
No,
there's no world where that beats that. So like,
and people will fight like to the death on that. Like, also the kids that I will 100%. If you were a Lunchable kid like every day at school, you are absolutely the most annoying person to eat dinner with. Because like we just had like a lovely like London broiled broccoli, all this stuff. You are like if you had Lunchables growing up, you were the where's the chicken tendies kid.
You're still eating ham and cheese sandwiches now.
Like we're going to a nice steakhouse and you are on the kids menu. That's just what that breeds. And it might not have been your fault, but that's who you are.
They take a little browse on the menu and they just say, "I don't see Dino Nuggets on there anywhere." And then when they do get their steak, they just smother ketchup.
Or they're well done people.
Yeah, well done with ketchup.
Yeah, that's a communist.
No, so I mean, like, and the weirdest Lunchable for me, I feel like we're getting on a tangent, but it's a good tangent.
Yeah, it bothers me.
The worst Lunchable of them all, and this is one that I feel like people swear by, is the pizza Lunchables. I don't understand. It's literally like a piece of soggy dough with ketchup and some shredded cheese.
Oh yeah, and that shredded cheese has never seen a pasture, grass, anything.
No.
That is chemically engineered cheese.
They built that with a nuclear byproduct. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
That was the worst. They're all bad.
Mm-hmm.
That was
definitely a hard one.
Really
and for me, I didn't even like the idea of it because, like, and I know this is a hot topic in itself. This is super tangent. I don't really like cold pizza, which I know is a big thing for people, but I don't really like cold pizza. So for me, I couldn't even get behind the pizza Lunchable for that
because of cold
for that reason. But even if I did like cold pizza, there's no way that tastes like a pizza to me.
No, it's cold pizza has its place for sure, and we'll end on this little tangent here because
before this spirals out.
Before we're talking about lasagna in 13 minutes here. But if you're somebody who has the ability to reheat, the ability and the time to reheat pizza, and you choose to eat it cold, I disagree. There are a few things walking out the door that will get you out of a jam better than cold pizza.
I get that, and I've had it. It's not that I haven't, but to your point, if I have the preference and the time to take the pizza and even put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, maybe get it lukewarm, I'd rather that because it just starts to heat the cheese up a little bit to the point where maybe it's not a solid piece of cheese at that point, and that's enough for me. Yeah,
no, that's fair. Like I said, if you have the ability to heat it up, you heat it up. I guess my stance is if you take the world of leftovers as we know it, I don't think there's another leftover that can be enjoyed easier than cold pizza. Cold pasta is weird. Cold Chinese is weird. And they're like elite second day foods.
Yeah. No,
so if they can't do it, I don't know. I don't think anybody else can go cold.
That's fair. And I mean, while we're on the topic of pizza rolls, I don't even think this is a question.
It's got to be pizza rolls.
It's got to be pizza rolls. I mean, if you disagree, that's a hard opinion.
Yeah, like if you're drunk as an adult and you can't drive yourself somewhere, pizza rolls are going to get you out of a jam.
Yeah.
I don't care how drunk I am. Lunchables, not going to get the job done. I'm going to need a little bit more than that.
You're going to need like 15 of them to make it work.
And B, I'm not even drunk craving them. I'll cook.
I think I would I would absolutely take, as horrible as they are for you and as horrible as my memory of them is, I'd rather take a Hot Pocket over a Lunchable.
Easily.
Any day of the week, a Hot Pocket over a Lunchable.
It's got the grease, the bread, it's all the stuff you need.
It is drunk food at its finest. I had one of those a couple years back. And I was like, this is going to be awful. I remember being awful, and it didn't prove me wrong. It was pretty awful, but guess what? It did the job. I had been drinking, so it's perfect.
The middle is livable. It's the ends of a Hot Pocket, you could break down a door.
Yeah, you could.
Once you get to the middle, you can get by. But we could go all night. We have too many episodes to blow all this content in one shot. So just as a review, this week was French Week with the Bastille 1789. I gave it a B-. Where did you land?
I'm probably in the similar boat as you. I think it's good for like one glass. This is my second glass, and I'm frankly
going down slower.
Yeah, I'm not loving it. It's one of those things where I probably could take it or leave it. So I definitely would say B-, somewhere around there is probably a fair assessment of that.
Okay, so the official score from the Whiskey Gingers podcast: French kick rocks with your B-.
Probably the last French whiskey that we'll be reviewing on this.
For sure. We will see you guys again in 2 weeks. Hit us up on Twitter with any whiskey recommendations, topic recommendations. We will 100% work them into the show. And thanks for listening.